own personal recommendations for a new player. Let's start off in the non-combat.
Hello, can you hear me now? It appears you can. You can. How we doing tonight, stream? How's it going? My name's Sean. I'm Fire of Life 2018, and today we are discussing things. Nobody's here today, as you can see. This invite is waiting to be filled by whoever joins the Discord. Over it. This is the Discord link. Join that, feel free. So, we usually talk about political things, but today is Star Wars. I did say we were going to play some Star Wars theory. Some Star Wars quest. Background.
Social media marketing has
Everybody
never
loves
been
a
more
commercial.
saturated. You need your Facebook ads to rise above the noise.
I don't know who's giving Facebook ad. So yeah, the purpose of my streaming is to change the world. I would like to turn these into political rallies and get together people of like minds that want to make real change. I feel like that if you're trying to make change through the system right now, the system is so broken it's impossible to make change. But we have evolved beyond that as a technological set piece. Like, we, the people, have the technology to gather together in our living rooms and have real life discussions about things. And I think I'd like to make that a forum for this space. Like, believe it what you may, we will calmly discuss whatever it is you feel is blocking you from changing the country. This is where we're at with that. That's why I'm like, I thought about running for office, but you have to have a political party to do that. And political parties themselves give you money and therefore have hooks in you. It's all about the money. All this political race is about getting us to pay the bills, pay the money. That's what that is. So my solution to that problem is when you go to the polls in November, yes, right, this coming November is a midterm election, and it's just as important as the presidential election, if not as, if not as important, more important. Because the president doesn't really get to control all the things you think he does. Like, it's just not who you think he is. So yeah, go to your midterm elections, or I don't want to hear you bitching about the government because you didn't even vote for your midterm elections. So there's that. But anyway, so when you go to your midterm elections and you're inevitably displeased with your choices, what you do is you write in change the vote. Let's see, you write in change the vote. It has to be just change the vote, otherwise it's not going to work because it has to be 10% of your precinct. And you have to tell your friends. You have to get your friends to come to these meetings. You have to propagate this message to others to get them to write in change the vote. Like, unless we want us to be continuously brainwashed by corporate propaganda, we have to change that. Like, at least you wonder who the real question here is. Hey, Bat Coaster, what's up?
Not a much.
Oh, I didn't hear you in the Discord even. That was creepy. Are you live on the Discord?
Yeah. Unless I recorded this earlier. Which...
Well, I meant like picture-wise.
No.
Okay, I have the ability to put you up there, but welcome, Keith. He's Bat Coaster, everybody. Or nobody's watching us right now, but somebody will be later. I usually get about 30 views.
Throughout the stream.
Well, I put it on YouTube too. I feel like it's mostly on YouTube that I get the views.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, like, and I don't know how long they watch. Like, I don't know if it's like the first 30 seconds. And I'm like, what is this asshole talking about? But at least 30 people click on it. But I have 70 some subscribers, so it's still not that great.
Every little bit counts.
I mean, I don't know. Like, the hope and despair battle one another every day. I usually wake up every morning like super hopeful and ready for the day, and then throughout the day it just beats me down, and you're like, damn. By the end of the day, you're just like,
how do you do that?
how do I wake up hopeful?
Yeah.
That's who I am as a person. Every new day is a new possibility for hope.
Interesting.
That's just how I've always looked at life. You never know what a new day is going to bring. And I look back at my life and I tend to think I've had more good days than bad ones. So it's unrealistically to me to think that I'm going to have a bad day when I start, just logically speaking. However, most days I do end up going, damn, what a day. Which surprisingly, you would think now that I've pretty much retired, it would be easier. But still, so many setbacks in life, and you want to get, I still want to change the world, so it's not like I'm sitting here and doing anything. But Lord. The red tape involved in literally everything is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, like my uncle died in 2020, like in December. I just got his state tax return like 2 weeks ago. And I filed it right, like, appropriately, like it was January or something, and right afterward I was like, I'm part of the executor, it was my job to file his taxes, so I did it immediately, and then it still took that long for them to get me a refund, and like I'm getting letters and stuff from the court being like, you have to file your closures and all that, and I'm like, I can't, they haven't sent me all the stuff yet.
Yeah, waiting on you.
And then miraculously it comes through like 2 weeks after she goes, hey, we need it. I'm like, yeah, I bet you do. I would like to have freed it up a long time ago too. I'm tired of holding all these bank accounts and interest and all kinds of BS I have to keep track of for a fucking year and a half. Hashtag the government sucks. You heard it here, folks. That's the real news of the week, is the government sucks. That's the headline. Oh wait, was that not news? Did everyone know that already? But no one wants to change it. Were you here for the spiel about how we're going to change it, Keith?
Right in, change the vote.
If he was here, he got it, or he wasn't, he got it from before, because Keith's a long time. Give it up for Keith.
I did come in at the start of the rant, I believe.
Oh, you were in at the ranting already? I try not to rant. For maybe like I get to rant for the first 5 minutes of this, and then I like to move on to something fun.
Probably why you didn't hear me come in.
I don't ever hear the noise. Like, it doesn't make the noise for me anymore. And I don't have Discord up, but I guess I could put Discord up.
Maybe it's just setting.
I tried to look. I was looking at Discord earlier, and I couldn't put it out.
I didn't get a notification that you had started streaming already.
Well, that's good. That should happen from my Streamlabs, which has all my cool stuff in it. And I'm like, I feel like I look like a professional streamer. So maybe now I don't have all the gimmos. Like, do you think I should get a layout? Like, I have the ability to put little layouts and blinky things on my main page, but that's just not who I am, I guess. One day it'll be full of people and they'll just continuously put in emotes. They'll float and that'll be fun. Because I love the emote floaties. And I even have a little thing that lets you follow the stream just by touching it from the app. It pops up on the screen. I've got polls, put spreadsheets up. I have all kinds of things. What do you want to see on stream, Keith? What do you usually watch on stream? Games like about Final Fantasy.
I'm back and forth. I don't watch too many live streams. I watch the YouTube usually later after they're done. Every once in a while I catch a live stream, but it's very rare that I sit down and watch a live stream regularly.
I am starting to get that as well. It's not a thing where a lot of people like live stream is going out because YouTube is just better because you can watch it on your own time.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You can watch it whenever you can. With my overnight job, though, when I do have some free time, but I can actually sit down and BS and watch some live streams. Every once in a while, there's a kooky streamer I've been watching lately. She's been doing Final Fantasy, but she's out there.
Is that the one with the VTuber?
No, this is a little Asian girl. I just randomly came across.
Like that narrows it down for Final Fantasy streamers.
Right. I can't even think of her name off the top.
That's like saying white girls at Starbucks during pumpkin spice season.
Yeah.
Indeed. I've been getting back into some Final Fantasy lately. Been trying to get my crafters back up again since I got to re-level everything to 90.
I'm doing the warrior jobs all to 90 right now.
I am never ever gonna be one of those people who levels all the jobs to 90. Like, not ever.
I feel like I want to because I worked so hard to get them all to 80. And it's like,
right now you have to. Like, that was your thing.
Right.
I gotta get all my crafters to 90 because I was an Omni crafter before, and you have to get all the regional tomestones. You have to get all the like tombs of folklore. Like, there's so much shit in gathering and crafting that I feel like people don't even know about. It's a whole nother game. Like, I feel like you either play one or the other.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to pop into my dungeon queues every now and again, but I feel like the dungeons have gotten almost harder. Like, when I'm doing level 90 dungeons in a like, you get a tank queue and you're level 90, you're like, oh shit! Ah!
The level 90 dungeons are challenging.
You really have to think and be prepared. Never ever do your expert roulette first.
I think that was part of the appeal for a lot of people, but the doing other dungeons have gotten a little stale. So this has provided a challenge. So even with the reworks, I did a rework of one of the level 50s the other day, and I was struggling. I was like, I just did this like 2 days ago, and I was fine. I was like, what's going on?
I've been doing a lot of stuff with the duty support system.
I don't think I've tried that yet.
It's just NPCs. Like, do you ever do it with your squad?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, except they've given you a max level squad already. Like, you don't have to work for it.
Right. My squad is not quite max level, but like I have a hard time doing it because I feel like if you're not the tank, it's hard to get
them to engage. Well, you have to have your pet command hotbar up, and then you can tell them to engage.
Yeah, that's a whole other hotbar I gotta adjust because it's easier,
Well, the duty support system is better. If you're in the duty support system and you run up to a monster and see one and go, oh hey, there's a monster, usually your tank will approach by the time you're like, oh, I should tell these guys to engage, and then they do.
Yeah.
There is a delay, but I was running Samurai the other day and I was just running ahead. I would just have to go get aggro and then pull it back to the NPC tank.
Right. So I was doing the squads mostly with my healers to try to get some practice healing without driving everybody crazy.
That's my next one. I'm gonna get White Mage to 80.
See? I got my stage to
to 90.
90, and I think I got a handle on Sage fairly well.
I've played Sage once or twice.
I didn't think I was going to get it when I first got it. I think I got that better. It's a lot better than Scholar or Astrologian.
I really want to play Summoner. Like, I want to level Summoner so I can get the Summoners to whatever, but a Summoner's like level 50 or something. Takes so much to level.
Leveling does go fairly quick for the most part.
Well, how do you level?
Huh?
How do you
Well,
level?
I still just do the dailies, and then I do a mix. I do the dailies, and then I do the Wanderer's Tale still.
Right? I mean, like, if you play the game as a battle class, you level.
Yeah.
I've just been doing a lot of gathering, and I always do that where I get my gatherers geared and leveled first, and then you spend all this time gathering stuff just to be gathering things, which I guess is the point of the game, but it makes me upset because you don't really level your gatherer by gathering for gathering, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
you level the gatherer by getting stuff and then doing.
Right, like you end up leveling by doing the quests or by doing these special turn-ins or whatever to get your scripts because you need it for the gear, and then you're like, oh, well, I haven't even gathered the things, like the new things that I bought with the tomestones that I got the scripts for. I was like, wait. So I got them. Now I got it to the point where I can gather it, and I was like, oh, I can send out my retainers, but each one of my retainers needs a set of crafted gear to be able to go get the items from the. I'm like, damn it, man. It's a gear grind, and I kind of hate that it's a gear grind. Is really what it is. Like, I feel like I wish they had made the gathering and stuff a little bit more organic. Or maybe I just level it wrong. But I mean, I feel like you need so much stuff with scripts. You should level with scripts because you need scripts to get anything in Final Fantasy. It's the crafting equivalent to like tomestones. And I have discovered that you need what you need for to spend your tomestones of revelation on. The aqua-looking tomestones. You'll need Thanavarian thread and Amdillan hide. Here, I'll put it on screen. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the things that will probably always sell well this patch because they're made for gatherer gear, and you can't gather it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only purchased by those tomestones of trade, whatever you call them, the tomestones of aphorism, teal ones.
Yeah.
You can purchase them from.
From who?
The Razadhan. It's on the screen right now. It's the.
Your picture's blocking half of it.
I just moved. Well, I moved it up. There.
Social media marketing has never been more saturated.
Social media marketing has never been more saturated. Ugh. It's a tombstone vendor in Razadhan. Cihanti. Probably the one that just says tombstones. Vendor, you're probably looking for the items. But the only other thing, like, you can get from hunting logs. I believe you get these from nuts. Those Enfiradus hides. OPHIOTAURUS hides. They would be something you get from hunts that you might also want to save. Everything else is Eighth. I still haven't figured out Aether Sand. Can I tell you that I have been a crafter gatherer for a million fucking years, and apparently these ephemeral nodes exist in areas but are not on any timers or any maps. You have to just know where they are and when they are to be there.
Interesting.
I mean, I did like, and I have definitely come across some like while I'm out gathering and things. You just run into them and you're like, oh hey, here's one, like, which is obviously what they're designed for. But Final Fantasy doesn't have a way to mark your map permanently. Like I can't put that on my map in the game. Be like, oh hey, this is where that ephemeral node spawned. Boop. I feel like once you've gathered it, it all show up on your map. Square Enix, if you're listening to somebody who's played your game for 2,500 hours, I need you to fix some shit in the gathering world.
I mean, next thing they'll simplify the gathering.
Well, they made fishing better. I don't know if you tried fishing lately, but it's kind of like a little mini game now, and it's awesome.
No, is it?
Yes.
I haven't tried it.
I mean, it still has the drawbacks of like having to get gear and bait and know where you're going, and basically have to use an external website for that.
I tried the ocean fishing.
Ocean fishing is boring to me because it's just you stand there and cast and cast and cast and cast and cast. They made that just be like, let's see how many times you can cast in 45 minutes.
Right.
Do you have carpal tunnel? We'll give it to you. Try ocean fishing. That should have been their advertisement for that. But I think they fixed it with the minigame. It might be better to ocean fish now that you can play a minigame in between. And there actually is a little bit of skill trying to catch a fish. So to click the button when the fish is crossing your thing. So there's like a little bit of skill, but definitely a minigame. You ever play the minigames in the Golden Saucer?
Every once in a while. I played the Leap of Faith and the what's the Price is Right one?
I don't think
parody of that.
I don't think I've ever done that one. I did like the minion one. You have all your minions, you have to pick them out.
I tried that. Yeah, I kept saying I was going to do that because I saw it the other day. I was like, I should try this. I got a ton of minions.
Vermilion. It was weird. Every time I didn't really. I played it like 3 times before I was like, I don't understand what's going on, what's happening here, what's this? I don't get it. So yeah, let me know how that works out for you. You saved up your money to get a house yet? You gonna buy an Ishgardian home?
Actually, one of the kids in the free company gave me money to buy the house, and when they first did that trial where they had that debacle, so I did put in for it. But what was it? And then the whole thing went down. I didn't get it. I bid it on a house that was like only 2 other people.
Nice.
I still didn't get it. But
who just randomly gave you enough money to buy a house?
I think it was Barry.
Oh, he's a crafter gatherer too.
Yeah, but we had made so much money from
all treasure maps.
Yeah, from the treasure night maps. It was like everyone had this extra money.
Well, good. I'm glad. I hope everybody gets their own house. That's like end game because you have to have millions of guilds just throw around to be.
I was up and down about getting one. You know, I was like, we gotta get out. Do I need a house? Really?
There's the plots open right across from my house, in Limsa.
Is it? I don't know if it's available for. Oh wait! I did check that out. It said free company only.
You should make your own free company just so you can like live across the street from me. In the game, that'd be so funny. We could all be our own free company.
I thought about that too. I was like, that'd be kind of cool.
But then we'd end up leaving moons, and they'd be mad. And we would have a much tinier house. And probably one that somebody else would have to decorate. Considering I didn't decorate my own house, that's the real problem. Well, there's my timer. For some odd reason, this stupid cloud banana timer is still going off, and I'm like, what cloud banana timer? I don't need cloud bananas anymore. Stop it. Haunted by the cloud bananas. This is a cool website if you've never been. It's Teamcraft. If you're a crafter in Final Fantasy, I highly recommend you check out Teamcraft. Wow, somebody wants me to make a whole bunch of rings, jewelry, just a whole bunch of random rings. Okay, pass. I guess if they send me the material, I could make it with 24 items. $8 million for 24 items. Go. Done. So Keith, how's your day?
It was pretty long.
What'd you do?
A whole bunch of nothing. No, that's not true. I caught a lot of fish.
Well, that sounds
My,
unpleasant.
It's up and down. But yeah, that's the part-time job, working with the fish.
Fish!
I had to clean my shoes. I came home the other day. I was like, can I bring a fish? Something that stunk, or like old fish, but it was just at my door. I was like, what is it? And my shoes were there. I was like, ask me these shoes.
Gross. Oh, so unfortunate news. I guess I can tell you while you're on the phone. I think we've canceled Hawaii.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're still gonna take the week. We're still gonna go somewhere. We're still gonna do something, but we have to think of a more climate-friendly vacation spot. I think Hawaii is out. I'm thinking California though. Like we're still thinking kind of West Coast beach, like San Diego.
Really? I'd still want to do that. I'll admit I was a little worried about spending the money for Hawaii. The island hopping was, I was like, oh. But,
yeah.
I've been, what was it? My father reached out to me the other day and said, hey, we should get together. And then he was hoping we could do something for like Thanksgiving. I was like, are you crazy? I was like, first of all, me getting Thanksgiving off is a small miracle. And then you want me to travel the country during the busiest travel day of the year. And I was like,
well, what part of California was your family in?
well, my dad's actually in Georgia, but he's going to go to California. And then he talked my mother and my sister apparently becoming on this. I was just like, well, the four of us have not been together, I think, probably in about 12 plus years. We've all been in the same place.
Wow, you should definitely make that happen though.
Yeah, I kind of want to, but the reality of like trying to do a weekend on Thanksgiving.
I feel like if you tell your bosses at both places now that same story you just told me about how it's your whole family, he's been trying to get together, everybody's trying to get together. Haven't been like I've been working myself to death for you guys.
Yeah, I've already had that conversation. It was already like, there's no way for Thanksgiving.
Well, I mean, you could also just quit, and then when you come back, they'll surely rehire you because they're desperate for anyone.
That'd be dirty.
But I mean, if you've told somebody months ahead of time, hey, listen, I want these days off, and they can't cover it, that is their fault as an employer. It's not your responsibility to run that business. Are they paying you management money? Do you have titles? Do you have keys?
I do have one. Actually, I do, but against my better judgment.
So, desperate for people. I feel like if you come to them and just tell them straight out, this is what it is, like, I'm going. But put your foot down, Keith. You need to find someone else to work these days for this weekend. It's a once-in-a-lifetime event for my family. They're more important than this job.
I want to move the date. I just don't want to travel on Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, that's fair. If you don't want to travel on Thanksgiving and that's your deal, because it's just a day, it's just a holiday.
Right.
But I think you should not miss your family gathering.
Yeah, I think we should change the date.
But hey, if you're thinking about, if we're talking about the end of September, You can just stay an extra week, and we'll go back without you.
Oh yeah, I was like, in September, it's like I could at least go see my mother.
We were talking about doing that in Hawaii anyway. So like, if you would like to not travel back with us, you're more than welcome to. But I'm thinking maybe train or maybe bus. We might get a car and drive. So you'd have to like fly back if that was the case.
Oh God, that's like, well, I mean, that'd be just as easy, but that's like 4 days. Well, I guess 3 really if we're just driving, but.
Well, I don't know if we would do that either. It might be nice to have like a road trip. I wonder if you could rent an RV maybe, and then we could just travel across take the week, travel across and hit the beach at the end. Because then the rest of y'all have to like immediately skid back, but I could drive back myself over time, I suppose.
And my mother lives in what they call the, I guess the high desert in California. It's between LA and Las Vegas.
The high desert.
Yeah. So what I usually do is I fly into Vegas, and then I usually like take a couple days to myself there, and then I find a way to get to Mom's place, because I think it's a little easier to get to Vegas to her place from LA.
I'd still like to go to Vegas, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm really in that Vegas state of mind. Still worried about COVID. I'm still worried about the climate and all that. Like, I don't know if I could really relax.
Aside from the COVID, Vegas is so adaptable to what you want to do. Because you think Vegas and it's like, oh, it's gambling and drinking and blah blah blah. But I mean, there's so much of that you don't have to do. Like,
I was thinking more like I'd want to go see shows all the time. Like, I'd have to go see so many people in concert.
Right. Well, you just see one show at least, but
well, I would probably do a lot. Like, 'cause isn't Britney in Vegas? So Cher still, right?
I don't know if Cher's still there. I think Britney's still there.
And Celine Dion?
I don't think Celine's there anymore. Because Celine was at Caesar's Palace. That's where Britney is, I think, right now. I think. I could be wrong.
Damn. I'd be like, if Britney replacing Celine, what kind of like? Wonder how Celine feels about that.
Celine replaced somebody. I mean, who did she replace Cher? Was Cher there before her? Or?
I feel like they have so many shows. There's probably tons. If somebody was watching, they could tell us in the comments, but nobody's watching. So
even more so than the regular artists, you have the Cirque du Soleil shows are still there, and all the major
I could go see Cirque du Soleil.
Hotels have, all the major brand hotels have a show of some sort usually.
See, so lots of shows, lots of crowded places. I don't know if I'm in COVID state of mind, because that whole, I don't know if you keep up with it, but there's a whole other situation in China
going on.
Right, they've locked down one of their city-states. It's like the size of New York for almost a month. Like, it's a humanitarian crisis. People are like locked in apartment buildings and such. They've now started to erect fences around the apartment complexes, so people are allowed to go outside, but not outside of their property.
See, I wondered about stuff like that, because in China, there's so many people.
And they're still on a zero COVID policy. He's still trying to keep it 100% lockdown. And they just had this whole thing where everybody in Shanghai, the capital, had to get tested in a single day. They tested the whole city in a single day. Like, everybody mandated they show up to get tested in a single day. And so, like, that caused mass panic in the city, because they all thought they were going to get locked down. So everybody started raiding the grocery stores and like getting all the food they could get, because they didn't want to turn into this other city that's already been on lockdown for months. They surely have friends and family in it being like, we're trapped in our houses, we can't go anywhere, we're starving to death. Like, oh my God. I saw this video where they had like people hanging out the windows of their apartments just screaming, we're starving, let us out, we're starving. And you're like, damn, that is harsh. So I don't know what's going on in China. like the fact that that is happening makes me wonder what in the world China is not telling the rest of the world.
Excuse me.
I definitely don't trust in China. Not that I really trust any government in the world right now, but China is a shady one too. Of the governments in the world, US, Russia, and China are the shadiest. Anybody disagree? Let's rank the world's 3 shadiest governments. I'm sure somebody out there would have given me some like African nations and Middle Eastern nations, tribal kingdoms and such that still exist in the universe today.
Well, Africa's got time. Well, I guess not the government. Well, it depends. What's that little country that still opposes China's policy?
Oh, I probably.
Ever heard about?
Isn't that like Timbuktu?
Yeah, something like that. You know, because China was helping all those African countries with development projects.
Right.
And
that's a poison silver spoon.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, here's all this money, we're gonna help you fix your country. So when we do stuff, you know, you're not gonna badmouth us, right? Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Did you see the news where China was doing military exercises around Taiwan the other day while our diplomats were present in Taiwan?
What?
Like we had, like the United States had diplomats visiting Taiwan, and China chose that day to do military exercises around Taiwan.
Remind you.
Just to send a clear message. And the whole Ukrainian situation still going on. Like, I half wonder though how much Ukraine like is really getting destroyed by Russia and how much of it is propaganda. Like, surely I admit that Russia has invaded Ukraine, but to the fact they're getting genocide level seems a bit much. Because I feel like if you're genociding Ukrainian people, Ukrainians and Russians have such a similar history that'd be awful hard to tell apart. That seems a little weird. Like they're too close ideologically. I'm saying that wrong. You know what I'm trying to say. But they're too close in ideologies for them to be at war. Sponsor me, Hippie Butler. This cup is not a Hippie Butler cup. It's just a Hippie Butler sticker on a regular Yeti cup.
What is a Hippie Butler?
Hippie Butler is a bong subscription service.
Oh.
I remember that. Did I ever tell you the story about the time my glassware blew off the side of the building in Honolulu?
Your what?
Glassware. Like I had a whole box full of bongs.
Oh, geez. And it blew up?
No, okay, so like I was moving from Mililani to Honolulu, and that was like tiny town to like the big city. It was the first time I'd ever lived in a skyrise apartment. I was 17 stories up, yeah?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever, and I was carrying a box of stuff like this, like I'm a server. Just carrying stuff. And I had a whole box full of bongs, probably. This subscription box, I paid $120 a month for like 6 or 7 months. And they sent me a bong every month. One of like the big, nice, long glass ones with all the flowy whoop-de-loos and loops and stuff. And I bubble wrapped them all nice and carefully and stuff. And I was all like, these are the first things I'm moving in. I'm taking extra super care with them. I'm moving them in specifically. And I took them up and I walked around the corner. And the second I walked around the corner, a gust of wind just knocked it off the top of my hand, just completely sucked it off the side of the building. And I was like, oh my God! Like I was 17 stories up. I got to lean over the edge enough time to watch it coast. And then it luckily landed in the middle of the street. So no one was injured, but it shattered into 1,000 glass pieces all over the pavement.
Wow.
So yeah, I lost a lot of my beautiful Hippie Butler bongs to the wind of Honolulu. And mental note, when you're that high up, the winds are pretty strong, always.
Yeah, anytime you go high up. I love high places.
Well, you know, and you've been to Honolulu. You know what the wind is like there normally.
Yeah.
And so once you get to that like height, that wind's a bitch. Like I can't when I lived in an apartment, if we left our front door open and our balcony door open, the breeze would be enough to move our furniture. It was nuts. It was nuts. So you had to like, there were 7 of us that lived in that apartment, and if one of us had the door open, we had to like send a text message to be like, "Hey, I'm on the balcony," just so everybody knew that if you were gonna open the door, to like let me know you were coming up to open the door, or to close the door before you opened the one to go out. Because you cannot open both, or we lose paperwork, we lose magazines, we lose bowls, I can't tell you the amount of things that just whipped off our coffee table out into the wild blue yonder of Honolulu. It was a thing. We had to get like lightweight dishes because we were afraid we were gonna kill somebody if something got launched off into space.
I'm surprised they're not like TikTok videos about that kind of stuff.
I never even I didn't know what TikTok was at the time, or I probably would have. But it never happened on purpose. Like everybody told you, everybody knew it was a plan. Like most of the time, when it happened, you had to grab all your shit. Like that was your first reaction, was like, "Oh God!" Was to start whatever you like. If you were eating something, if you're like, I mean, I've been sitting there in like a bathrobe towel, and you're like, gotta hold on to that real quick, you know, like. Sometimes you just get caught in that sudden jet stream of air, and you're like, this is the worst apartment ever. I will never ever live in a place that high ever again. Ever.
Really?
Never. Hated it, every minute of it. Like, the elevator took 20 minutes to get up and down the building every time. So, like, you're just going, like, and the parking situation was ridiculous. I had to walk 8 blocks uphill to my apartment because that many people lived in it, and there was no parking in the building at all. Because the parking situation in Honolulu is fucking epic. And now I probably would just have a bike and not even care, but I had a car then, so it was a big deal.
How's that electric bike? Didn't you buy one a little while ago?
Yeah, I still have it. And I haven't really been riding it a whole lot because
I guess the weather has been, it has been rideable, has it?
And I mean, it's hard to, like, I don't really want to ride alone any long distances. Like, I usually ride down to the local park and stuff and that, but if I were going to go any measurable distance, it would be nice to go with someone because, you know, you get a flat tire, or like, say for example, somebody nudges me off the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, still laying in a ditch with a broken leg, you know, like.
Ooh.
It's a dangerous world for a biker. I used to work at the Yard House in Honolulu, and the guy I worked with used to bike ride every day, and he was probably in his 60s, like fit guy, just one of those very like surly old waiter types. He'd been a server his whole life, right?
Right.
So he's coming to work, and he gets there, and we at the time are wearing all these like white shirts and stuff, and he's all bloody, so he's got like a nosebleed, and all his arms and stuff are cut up.
Jeez.
And we're like, what the hell happened to you? And he was like, I was coming down the bike lane, and this bitch just threw open her door right in front of me, so I head flipped right over her door.
Wow, that's terrible.
And I'm like, people have no respect for that. They are on their phones, texting as they're getting out of the car, not looking either way. They're like, oh, it's a bike lane. I don't have to worry about traffic. Oh, yeah, except for people who ride bikes at 30 miles an hour coming down that bike lane.
Right.
And I mean, like, sometimes in the big cities, have you been to, like, Seattle? I've never seen it, but I've heard of it, like New York and LA, where they have the bike lanes that are heavily trafficked. They have, like, fast lanes and slow lanes in bike lanes, and some of these, like, bike messengers are going, like, 60, 70 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah, I guess in New York they still have those bike messengers, don't they?
Say again?
I said, I guess in New York they still have those bike messengers.
I'm sure there's probably lots more in lots of places, because I'm sure they're quite efficient. in today's climate, you know?
Hmm.
I feel like if I shorten this camera a little bit.
New chocolate peanut butter pretzel. Haagen-Dazs.
The laptop just timed out right as you said that.
Uh,
Oh my god.
Now it kind of looks like I'm streaming from outside, right?
I had to log back in. Hold on. Brandon's laptop like times out. Like I'd be watching and all of a sudden it just goes out. It's like I'm watching something.
Does it overheat?
You know what? I guess that could be it, but it's not hot.
Does like the screen go black?
Yeah, it just logs itself out.
Did you check the power management set?
I mean, it's plugged in.
But it might still be set to turn off after so and so many minutes of inactivity, even while plugged in. On Windows,
Like if
there
I'm
is a setting that
if I'm
allows that.
watching- If I'm watching like your stream or like YouTube, like that's the count is like activity.
Not on the
Video
older
is
stuff.
playing. Yeah.
Like the older version. What kind of version of Windows you got on that thing?
Well, I don't even know.
It's probably an old version. And, you know, we've come a long way in computers.
Yeah, I fell way behind. The laptop I have still has like Windows 7 on it.
Well, I just got this. Well, I say I've got this. I just paid for this new game that I haven't even been able to get download yet. But it's basically The Matrix.
Mm.
It's called Star Citizen, and it started out being a space simulator, but they've come across a couple of technologies, and now they're basically making The Matrix. It's been in development for like 9 years. It's still in Alpha 3, and it's super immersive. Like it allows you to like do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. All the like objects and stuff in the game are physics based, and the universe is perpetual. There is no fast travel. Like you can take trains and stuff, but you literally have to sit there.
That's different.
It's supposed to be very different because it's supposed to be very like you can completely immerse yourself into this space world with missions, and you can be a trader, you can be bounty hunters, you can be all kinds of things, and it's only an alpha, and they're coming along, but I think their technological advancements are what keyed me in. Right now, they have it set up to where you can purchase a ship, and that's how you buy into the like backers, because it's in alpha, so you can't actually be like, you're not buying a game, you're pledging an alpha release. So that's why some people are talking about it's a gimmick, but I'm like, $45. I've paid that much money for, you know, several hours of entertainment of shitty games. I've played other shitty games that have cost $45. So I guess if it's a shitty game, then I'll hope it turns into something better, and I will have gotten in on the ground floor.
Wait it out and see. Interesting.
Really, my only choice. Did you watch the video? I sent the.
I haven't had a chance to yet. I
Yeah.
saw it on my phone. I was like,
That's how I was discovered by it. I was very like, what? It looks VR ready. Like it's getting so ready for VR. But it has that same kind of interface. Like I don't know if you ever saw me play Satisfactory.
right.
Kind of like that, but a little bit more in depth and perpetual and multiplayer. Did I mention it was multiplayer?
No,
Yeah, you can, like, once you get more advanced, you and your friends can all get in the same giant ship and go do missions and things.
that
It-
might be fun.
It's some of the videos I've seen have been really cool. Some of the videos I've seen have not been really cool because it is still an alpha.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't know if it ever comes along to where it's good. I don't know. I would invite Brandon, but he probably would hate the alpha aspect of it. I did mention it to HK because HK tried to get me to play that Elite Dangerous.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that.
The Elite Dangerous is a lot like it's basically the space combat version of this game. Because like Star Citizen can be the first-person shooter, you can be a trader, you can be a market analyst, you can be a miner, you can be a prospector, you can be an explorer, you can be a pirate, you can be whatever you want to be in the game. And one of the aspects is space ship flying. Like you have landing gear to deploy and retract, you have, you know, real life spaceship flying ability skills to use. Gimbal, yaw, it's designed by aircraft engineers. So like the flying is supposed to be ultra realistic like. It looks hard and complicated, and so far I can't even get the game to download, so that may be what it is. Was I a real scam because the game won't even download? That might be it. But I have 30 days to get my money back. If I don't get to download in 30 days, there you go. But I played that much for Final Fantasy when I couldn't get in for 30 days. Or close to 30 days. I don't know. I feel like I definitely plugged Hippie Butler twice now and didn't get paid for it. That's like, if I ever get sponsors, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna put a sticker on my cup and be like, oh, hey, look, you guys, these guys love you. That's how I'll do it. In case anybody out there ever wanted to sponsor me, now you know how it would occur. Buy their shit. But I don't know if I'd ever do sponsoring for just anybody. I like Hippie Butler at the service, but I can't say that I condone them now because it's super wasteful. They sent me all kinds of extra shit I didn't need. Like hemp wicks, where you used to take your lighter, you'd light the hemp wick and then use that to light your bowl with, because a lighter is too hot. So if you lit it with a flame instead of a lighter, then it would be less hot on your lungs and it's a better, smoother burn in your weed bowl. How does that make you feel?
I feel like some people would be like, I like the burn.
Then they're nuts. Who says that? Only masochists who like the burn because they must like pain. They like to mix their pleasure in there. But anybody who would tell you that is clearly into bondage. That's immediately where I'd go with it. Be like, wow, so you like to get spanked, huh?
Only with a lighter.
Giggity. All right, Keith, we have 7 minutes to fulfill my weekly hour of entertainment. Thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
It's always dependable, Keith. Here we are, Wednesdays. One day we'll change the world, yeah?
That's the goal.
One day. Do you ever tell anybody about this podcast? Do you ever invite other people here?
Yeah, I mention it all the time.
You can feel free to bring people into the Discord as well. I think it's cool to have other people on the show. I'd like to start interviewing people. That'd be fun. I talked to my cousin today, and he's a Trumper. We gotta get Biden out of office. And I'm like, he's gonna be out of office by the time, like, you know, Biden's gonna leave office when the election term is over. That's my reply to when Trumpers tell me that we should get Biden out of office. I'm like, Biden will leave when his term is over, unlike the previous president. Because I can't believe, especially when they look at me and they go, well, that election was rigged. And I was like, you know, I worked it, right? You trying to say I rigged the election personally, me? Because I'm the person you're looking at when you say that. They rigged the election, I'm the they. And if you think I personally rigged that election, come say that to my face and I'll slap you, because that's tantamount to calling me a liar. I have high integrity and high morals. That's why I work for the election. That's why I personally did it for Donald Trump's election, because I knew he was going to cry foul and I counted him. Now what? That's all I got to say. That was my rant. Vote for change in November.
You don't think Biden's gonna run again?
There was somebody else watching apparently, and they must have liked my rant. I love the. I'm not sure what that is even. First time chatter emote. Oh, Prime Gaming. Oh, nice. Well, welcome in. I'm not sure how you say your name. I just see 08. How you doing? I haven't seen you in my chat before. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow while you're here. We are trying to turn this into a political rally every Wednesday. But we usually end up talking about video games. We should have talked about Star Wars today, because it's May the 4th be with you. How long do you think before May 4th is like officially Star Wars Day?
It already is. That's
But I mean,
why
like,
we have all this.
I haven't seen it on a calendar or anything. Like, I haven't seen it like be officially recognized as a holiday.
I don't think you're ever gonna get something like that as a federal holiday or something.
I mean,
But, like,
how did Cinco de Mayo become a holiday?
that I can't tell you.
If Cinco de Mayo can become a holiday, so why can't May the 4th?
But Cinco de Mayo has like, it's supposed to be a celebration of an independence of something. You're talking about a franchise.
Okay, how did Valentine's Day come into be?
There's a whole thing about that.
I'm sure we can come up with something about Star Wars. Like, isn't there a Jedi religion? Can't we just call it the Jedi religious holiday? It's May the 4th.
That's how they, like the Star Trek religion in Futurama.
I don't know. I mean, that's how it starts. But the Star Trek religion in Futurama turned out to be like some kind of cult where they wiped it off the face of the planet, if I remember correctly.
You are correct, sir.
Hashtag I love Futurama, and I'll play Futurama trivia all day.
There's a Star Wars celebration happens on the 4th a lot, and announcements for Star Wars stuff is constantly happening on the 4th because of it. So.
And what? Who? Say that again. Say that. I didn't barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was saying the conventions and franchise news gets released constantly for Star Wars. Star Wars Day.
So they just released a whole bunch of news and stuff today?
I think the biggest thing was the new trailer for the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show.
There's gonna be an Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show?
Yeah, it'll be on Disney Plus.
Of course it is. Do you have Disney Plus right now?
I think I do. I didn't mind getting Disney Plus because out of all of them, it was still the cheapest for the amount of content you get and stuff.
I'm disappointed at the amount of content you get on Hulu these days.
Well, I haven't had Hulu for a while because I had it free with my Sprint service, but then Sprint was bought out by T-Mobile, and then it expired through that. I had to
all things change when the corporation is sold.
Yes.
Indeed. I lost Sprint as well, and I told them to go stuff it. I'm now with Google Fi. Sponsor me, Google Fi, because I have them and I love them. They're super cheap, and that's all I really need because I go from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, so who cares? Need something to occasionally take a phone call from a business person.
All right.
When was the last time you used your phone number other than texting? And I even use the Messenger app for my texting now. Okay. Other than the fact that Messenger collects all that data. Facebook Meta has all the data you ever knew. Have you watched Don't Look Up yet?
No, not yet. That's on Hulu, isn't it? Or is it on Prime?
That's on Netflix.
Honestly, I don't have Netflix.
I don't really either. I'm stealing it from someone. That just happened again. Dan.
I was using Brandon was using his boyfriend's Netflix when we lived together, so we would just use his.
Yeah, I use my sister's. But they are definitely talking about adding commercials because of rampant password sharing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guilty.
I think it's finally starting to catch up with them though.
I think if they put commercials on, a lot of people are gonna stop subscribing. Because I think I might give up TV if they force you, like, because pretty much Hulu forces you. Even like I was on Peacock and Paramount Plus, they all have limited commercial plans where you can pay a little extra and have less commercials, but none of them are commercial free. And me being me, you know how I feel about them brainwashing us with all those subliminal ads and shit.
Right.
So I really try to avoid commercials at all costs.
That's what keeps the networks going.
I don't really care if they keep going though. Like, we don't need 24-hour news networks. There's so many networks that could just go away. You know, did you see that like CNN launched its streaming service for $15 a month? You could watch live CNN anytime you wanted to, and all their shenanigans. It lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
That's
Because who's gonna do that?
Because they already, I mean, you already have like, what do you call it? An app where you can get live news streams and information whenever you want. Why pay for a streaming service like that?
You can ask your smart speaker to play the news at any point, at any time of day, and it'll give you a rundown of anybody. Like, I like to listen to international news personally. I listen to a lot of German news. The DW is my favorite. I feel like they do a good job of reporting issues about the United States. They have a very interesting perspective, I think. Like, they're focusing on this abortion bill, like, even on the international news, that's made headlines. And you're like, that's ridiculous that in 2022 we are still debating on whether a woman can choose to do what she wants to do with her own body.
Right.
It does seem a little ridiculous. And they're coming for the gays next. You know, if they repeal Roe v. Wade, they're coming for the gays next. They already took away Disney's park because they don't say gay bill. That's true. That's not even a joke. Like the guy who Rob DeSantis, senator of Florida.
That was a prime example of someone bitching about, hey, you're not supporting us enough anymore. Because the way that all set up, if you for them to revert that whole bill, they have to reset it because Disney could sue because the way they set it up, it wasn't the way to get rid of it.
Oh yeah, and it would cost billions too.
Even that, I was surprised that so many locals were like in support of it.
That's because they know damn well that Disney's parks are already struggling. To give Disney another excuse to just close it.
No, it's not even in closing. The whole thing is, the whole area where Disney is, the bill would force Disney to pay taxes again, because all that the emergency services, sewer, wattage, water, and stuff, that whole area was actually controlled by Disney. So all that would revert back to the neighboring counties. So the counties would start having to pay for that service and people involved in that instead of Disney.
Right.
And Disney would have to like do more paperwork if they wanted to like build extra stuff on their parks and stuff.
Well,
so I'm just like, well, that's more taxes for the local people and businesses because they have to pay for that, for the county to pay those people to do that stuff.
Yeah, but you're assuming that Disney is just going to continue doing it.
What do you mean?
If I was Disney and that goes through, I would close up my park doors forever and just focus on my other one.
There's no way.
I mean, if they spend so much money keeping that park afloat as it is.
Right. But they're not losing as much with that. Like, there is a debt with those businesses, but I think some of it is, and that would be just transferred to the state as opposed to Disney having to worry about paying it. So, like, Disney's not in a bad position
I
really,
think they're.
because they can. There's a lot of repeals they can do. Like if it passes, it has to pass with like X amount of people on the county board to get to pass, and like most of those people on that board work for Disney, so they're already on Disney's side. And then if it does go through in some way, Disney has a decent option to sue them for the way they did it.
I mean, right. But that's why the locals are mad. It's because they're worried that Disney's just going to pull up operations. You think they won't do it, but you have...
Even if, I was like, the whole thing is so silly because I was like, that's still like the state's like biggest employer.
Which is why they're like, everybody else is freaking out. Because if Disney just decided, even if they just decided to like pause operations, just be like, we're not going to sell the park or anything, we're just going to close it due to COVID and just keep it closed. It would probably cost them less to just retain the property and to pay taxes on it than it would to operate an amusement park during COVID.
I don't know. They're still doing good numbers in the parks, considering the COVID and like the the quarter business operations they released a little while ago. Should show an increase in earnings in the parks despite the craziness.
Well, until another wave hits.
And even that, like people, I think part of the business coming back to the Disney parks, and all the parks, and especially it's just like at this point, people are like, they're tired of being away and locked away. It's like I'm gonna go out and do things.
Yeah, but they have another park. Isn't there a Disney World in California?
Well, Disneyland's in California, but it's not as big as Disney World. Think of like
I'm just saying,
like
Disney's biggest weapon would be to threaten to shut down.
I'd say I don't think that would help them though.
I have to play that game. I can't believe that they would even do it in the first place. That just seems so petty. They didn't support your Don't Say Gay bill, and suddenly you're gonna start penalizing them. Let's not have that man be president. Yeah.
Right.
He's trying, right? That's his whole. He's trying. That's why we know his name.
That's the whole deal with him doing this. He's trying to rally people on his side. Why we know his name.
Let's not have that man as president. That's all I got to say on that matter.
When Disney decided to block their funding for these people, as far as their PR, that's when all this came out.
Oh, again, the corruption is what's going to keep us all from salvation. You have to watch Don't Look Up.
I want to really bad. I just haven't done it.
There's no way. I don't have any way to give it to you.
Oh, good. Did you say it was Prime or was it
Netflix?
Netflix. Oh.
Netflix. I mean, I haven't actually looked to see if there's anywhere else you could find it. I don't know if it was a Netflix original or whatever, but that's where I found it.
It's one of the streaming originals.
And it was great. Good movie with good message. Even my redneck cousin who was talking about it, I'm like, yeah, it's like a metaphor for climate change. And suddenly he's like, oh. Like he didn't get it until I pointed it out. And I'm like, yeah, metaphor for climate change. Sorry, what were you going to say before I cut you off?
I don't know.
We're talking about a lot of the water tables around here drying up. We had an earthquake a couple months ago. I didn't know anything about it, apparently. And, like, it wasn't a major one, but it caused some kind of plate to shift. A bunch of people's water tables have drawn up.
Oh, jeez.
My cousin drove by this house when I went to karaoke tonight. And she honked the horn every time. She's like, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do because they done try to dig a well on their property 3 times. They can't find water. They're like, damn. Out here in the boonies, we don't have the town water backup. You don't get a well, you don't get water.
Right.
Yep, on that gloomy note, don't forget, in November, we're gonna write in change the vote because we need to do something to change something. So tell your friends, tell a fan, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again here next week. Say goodbye, Keith.
Bye, Keith.